So the biggest game in Week 18 is got to be Seahawks at 49ers. It's going to take place on Saturday. It's the Saturday night game, and it's the battle for the NFC West title and the 1 seed in the NFC. And this game, for Sam Darnold in particular, is a whole repeat of last season. And it's just after we thought we already got that repeat in the form of Rams Seahawks. And in the second matchup, that is. And the Rams now, since losing that game, have fallen out of contention for the division title. And now, for the third time in 1 year, Sam Darnold will have to duke it out for the NFC 1 seed. And it's versus the team he lost to Week 1. Now, this 49ers team is way different, at least on defense, from that team that played in Week 1. Injuries have massacred them, and the only mitigating factor has been Robert Saleh's defensive coaching, who they brought back, and he's been able to get a lot out of the depth and kind of rotational pieces that they have on this defensive side of the ball as they just continue suffering injury after injury after injury on top of guys like Fred Warner and Nick Bosa missing the entire season. Their defense, ultimately, at this point, is 22nd in EPA against the run and 24th against the pass. Overall, they're not great. They're like 15th in defensive EPA. So you should think Seattle should be able to do more or less whatever they want. It's not just going to be easy, but for them, their strength is passing the ball on offense, and that's usually predicated on if they can run the ball, and they should be able to do that in this one. So Seattle isn't going to be walking into like the Chris Shula defense that's been giving him fits over the past couple years. I think the Seahawks are going to be able to score some points in this one. Now, seeing how Clint Kubiak and Sam Darnold kind of, gear up for this one, they can't really go into it with that mindset I just expressed because they still have to put in the work, obviously, to coach and game plan for it. And I'm sure this 49ers team has, closely examined, what's occurred throughout this year, what's worked that the Rams have done. They're kind of like a related team when it comes to the coaching staffs. It should be interesting to see what they do. And they did manage to win the first time around. The Seahawks team did not look like the world beaters they have this year, Week 1. A lot of those guys are gone, but it's just worth noting. Now, when we look at the other side, when we look at San Francisco's offense versus the Seahawks defense, for the 49ers, their strength is passing the ball, and a lot of that comes from McCaffrey. And they grade out as average in the run game despite having him. So it's just, McCaffrey carrying the entire run game and, a lot of the passing game. And Seattle's strength on defense is stopping the run. They're number 1 in the league in EPA by a wide margin. Against the pass, they're 8th best. And overall, these two teams, San Francisco is 5th in offensive EPA and Seattle's 11th. Defensively, Seattle's 2nd in EPA and the 49ers are 15th. So, Seattle has the most elite unit out of those 4 with the 2nd graded defense. They're both, none of them have something that's worse than average in terms of San Fran's defense being 15th. That's still okay when it comes to grading out. And but overall, based on those numbers describing the teams, it should be a fairly even matchup. That's 2 good football teams right there. And you got to wonder, what is going to be the thing that pushes this game to be a potential win for the 49ers and a close game? Because you would look at all this and you would even look a few weeks ago and you say, Seahawks should win this game. They should win this game. The 49ers are destroyed by injuries, but the Seahawks are only 1.5 point favorites in this game. And so you gotta wonder, why are they giving the 49ers such a chance? Well, it's because of Christian McCaffrey, like I mentioned. If he's still a threat in the pass game, which he was in the last game, it was basically the whole reason they won. For the whole last 15 minutes of the game, they just dumped it off to him. They controlled the clock, and they got into field goal range, and they did everything they needed to do through him. And the Seahawks had no answer. I mean, it's the last outlet on most plays, and it's what they want to do, the 49ers. So I think it's going to be there today, or in this game. It's going to be there again, because when it comes to McCaffrey, it's not even really a scheme thing. You're trying to get someone to go up on him one-on-one. You're trying to match up, personnel-wise against this 49ers offense, and it's just hard. It's really hard to do. And he's one of the biggest reasons, but you also got Kittle and the blocking that their wide receivers can do. It's just really tough to match up. And CMC, there's nobody who can guard him one-on-one in open space. You end up having to double him or over-allocate, attention to him. And it opens up everything else for Brock Purdy in this offense. So I think they will also be able to score points in this game because I don't see him not being a threat. It hasn't been different all year. Every single time McCaffrey's on the field and healthy, he's one of the best football players in the NFL. So he's going to be the difference maker, and I think everyone knows that. And the Seahawks defense has been electric this year, but I will say I think they've benefited statistically from playing lesser quarterbacks and lesser opponents. Now, 49ers played an easier schedule, but just hang in here for a second. Let me walk you through what I mean. When the Seahawks play those lesser opponents, they do crush them. But when they play a really, really talented opponent, it's not like their defense is doing a great job of containing the opposing offense. So if a lot of that EPA statistics is coming from completely shutting down really bad teams, I'm not really, going to care as much about that as when you play the good teams. Because if you're playing in the playoffs, you're playing good teams. So that's who your defense is going to be at the end of the season. If you're in the playoffs, it's going to be, how did you play against playoff teams this year? And it's been one of the reasons they've lost. It was the reason they lost the Bucs, 38 points. The Rams, not really the first time around, but it was more so Sam Darnold throwing the 4 interceptions. The Krishula theory happening again. But I'm just saying the Seahawks defense hasn't been like unstoppable. It's been beaten before. And so, ultimately, I think it's very interesting to see if Darnold's going to be able to kind of shut up the haters for good with this one. I mean, it is like another test, like I said, third time in 2 years. He's right now he's 1 for 1, or well, I guess 1 for 2 if you're counting last year. This season he's 1 for 1, and he's going to have an opportunity to secure the 1 seed and kind of make up for last year, and I suppose he still needs a playoff one to really kind of secure confidence in the public, but I think securing the 1 seed is a great start to that. Playing like that 2 years in a row is pretty unbelievable. However, I actually think the 49ers are going to win this game. They are both, the 49ers and Seahawks, on a 6-game winning streak since they both lost to the Rams, right? So they both lost to the Rams and then went on 6-game winning streaks. And they're both cooking it. They're doing it in different ways. The 49ers are doing it through offense. The Seahawks are kind of doing it through everything. But the main reason I'm going to pick the 49ers is that I just feel like they're under less pressure than the Seahawks, and they've been here before additionally. So it's something we've seen from this team is that they always elevate in the playoffs. They always play on another level. And this is basically a playoff game. So why would they not start that a week early and shock the world versus the Seahawks and really say, we're the 49ers, we're here, we're one of the best teams in football. This is when you're going to see it from Kyle Shanahan, the extra juice. It's going to be right here. And now the 49ers throughout the entire season have played an easier schedule for sure, but the past 7 weeks are very similar for both teams. And I think in this one, CMC is going to submit his case for MVP. Brock Purdy is going to end up being the one who shuts up his haters, not Sam Darnold. And he is going to win a shootout against the Seahawks team Saturday night, 35-34. Can't wait to watch that one.